Hello. Today I'm going to talk about how I discovered Phish in the first place and how this whole channel started because there are some new people to the party who have just found my content and they're like, wait, have you been to a Phish show? Like, what's the story? Today I'm recording not at home, so that's why I have this less good microphone. I have a background because I'm not in a place that can really record. So I want to go through the whole story and explain a little bit more about my background because on TikTok, I've definitely triggered a lot of people because that's kind of the videos that go viral, unfortunately, is when I have a more annoying tone, and that's what people react to. So, first of all, I'm not new to music at all. I grew up in a house of classical music. My dad played classical piano. I come from like four generations of singer musician people. Like my great grandfather was a professional singer. His daughter was a singer. That's my great aunt. My father trained himself in classical piano, but he did not work in music. And then I took lessons my entire childhood. I ended up becoming a professional opera singer and musical theater singer. So I have a degree in classical voice, and I'm currently pursuing a master's in vocal pedagogy because I've been teaching voice and piano for 15 years. So that is my profession. So even just before I even play my whole Phish origin story, like when I was, this is me 15 in The Sound of Music as Maria. So yeah, so that was like high school. So as you can see, I had like a naturally good voice. And then what I've done recently is a few summers ago, I sang in Germany, and I've sung in Italy, Germany, Greece, and Spain for opera stuff. Okay, and then like, so this was me singing. So yeah, so just so you know, I am a singer and I have all my own songs. So then what happened is I was trying to promote my own original music, and it's really, really difficult, and no one was watching my videos, and they want you to pay for ads, and it's like crazy. And so then I started a TikTok, and I was recently single at the very end of 2023. I had a breakup after a 6-year relationship. And so I wrote this breakup album. And then aside from just having the breakup, I was like, well, what am I going to do now? I didn't want to rush into a rebound or anything. So I wanted to take time for myself and really work on my next stage of life. And so I decided to start this channel, and it was originally, I noticed that a lot of creators on TikTok talked about like male-female relationships and dating, and that content got a lot of attention basically. So I was like, well, maybe I should talk about dating. And so then by chance, I had gone on a date with this guy right after my breakup, and he started talking about Phish like right off the bat. He's like, do you like Phish? And so then I made this video, and by the way, this is meant to be inflammatory because of course I had heard of Phish the band, I had just never listened to it. And this is where a lot of the jam band people are like, oh my god, this girl's only just discovered music, she doesn't know music at all. It's like, no, I grew up in the most musical household you could possibly grow up in. I listened to, like I said, classic rock, the Beatles. I like weird stuff like They Might Be Giants. My mom likes The Who. Again, I was in the like 2000s era, Counting Crows. Like I could just go on and on. I've been to so many concerts. And again, I grew up with classical music, so I went to symphonies and operas, and I know a lot about music. So I just didn't know about jam band specifically. So everyone was like freaking out about it. And so this is, and part of the reason is, see how I talk normally? Well, this is how I talk on TikTok to get views.
Explain to me what the big deal with Phish. It's spelled Phish, and it's a band. And the I guess Pearl Jam and the Grateful Dead as well. These bands seem to be the Gen X bands, and let me tell you why this has no.
So anyway, this whole video just like inflamed people. And so what happened is that they downloaded the video, some Phish people, because wasn't that much Phish content on TikTok. So they downloaded the video, and they put it in a Facebook group of Phish fans with like 20,000 people. And then a bunch of these like angry guys, they started commenting on it and basically talking really bad things about me. And then some nice ones kind of messaged me and were like, oh, by the way, I found you from this Facebook group, but I actually think you're really cool and nice. And like, but they are saying this stuff about you. And I was like, what? And so then, anyway, so first I had to kind of do damage control on that, but it all blew over in like 48 hours, which was great. But then I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be so judgy about different types of music that I don't know about. And maybe instead I should just research it. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start a reaction video thing where I'm going to listen to Phish for the first time. And that's what I did. And so, unfortunately, when I made my very first reaction video, I literally, as you'll see here, I chose Mull, which I didn't know at the time was like a Mike song. I didn't know what that meant. You know, there's just a lot you don't know. And this is what happened. I'm just going to play through parts of this, and I just want to show you how like my reactions to Phish changed over listening to them. And then ultimately, this whole journey started, I think, in September, and then I ended up seeing their show in April. So the whole journey arc is like not knowing anything about this band, kind of just like assuming things about the band because of the fans that I saw. Like when I went to Vegas on the weekend that Phish was there and I saw all these Phish fans in Vegas, I was like, who the F are these guys, you know? So, and then I knew this woman who was like around 50 years old, and her husband was a big Phish fan, and he would always go to the shows with his friends. She would talk about it, like, oh, my husband's at a Phish show this weekend, blah, 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 blah. And he's like really into it. And I was like, okay. So I was like, what is this cult? You know? So I was just more curious about it, but it wasn't something I had access to. Like no one I knew listened to it. My ex-boyfriend was he had grown up in Florida, so he knew more like hip hop and R&B type music. In fact, I thought his music was bad because I grew up with like punk rock and West Coast rock and like Weezer and stuff like that. So I was like, what is this like mainstream hip hop stuff? You know, like I didn't even know that. And so anyway, so I just kind of I've always been like musically misaligned with my exes, honestly. Like I would end up just not listening to any music, and in almost every relationship I've been in, I stopped listening to the music I like because I just kind of get swallowed by their presence, I guess is the way to say it. I remember when I got divorced, like the first thing I did is I pulled out my old CDs that were from like the 2000s, and I started listening to them. I was like, wow, I haven't heard this CD for like 10 years, you know what I mean? And it was just it was basically that experience of not really ever playing the music I liked because I got swallowed by whatever my partner was, you know, like he didn't like acknowledge my stuff. And it was enough to just keep my identity in opera. Because let's say I'd be like, oh, I want to see this opera, or I want to do this, whatever. You know, for them, they're like, oh, opera, that's so crazy that I don't like it. It's so inaccessible, right? So it's hard enough to defend opera singing. And just one other point I want to point out is that because you know, classical music people can be snobby. So I actually don't think that um, the Phish people are that bad because I've been around the snobby, what do we call them? The snobby people, the very snobby classical music people. So like to me, these jam band fans aren't even that bad compared to the classical music people I went to conservatory with, alright? Who are like, oh, well, my father used to play in the something something philharmonic, and my father was a famous opera singer, and blah, 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 blah. So to me, these jam band fans aren't that bad, and I just never try to like push that kind of side of me. Like I've never liked elitism at all, or gatekeeping. I've talked about that before. I really hate gatekeeping. It's like doesn't make you special just because you know something and don't let other people know about it. Like that doesn't make you special.
Hi, welcome to Millennial Opera Singer, Trained Classical Musician, Musical Theater Nerd reacts to Phish. So scroll like this, a few seconds live. Listen to. I'm just gonna like put my mouse in a position. I'm just gonna scroll down a few times, and whatever I land on, we're playing. Before this.
I didn't even know how to like set up my video at the time, by the way, so everything was just like whatever. So I picked Mull.
Cool. Shapes, okay, Indiana, got it. Post-COVID. That's like Star Wars when they're destroying the Death Star. All right, got a shiny top, got a bass guitar. Okay, bleached hair.
I want to point out I had never seen these people before. Like maybe I'd seen them like portrayed in South Park or something as a cartoon. Like I'd never seen what these people look like. So my first reaction, I was talking a lot and I just didn't even know what I was looking at.
Cool. All right, got his little pedal, guitarist pedals. Okay, I think I made out the melody that he intended. Ooh, harmony.
So I'm kind of like, this song's very mediocre. Mike can't really sing on tune. And I was like, oh wow, harmony, okay. But then this is my favorite comment. I'm like, Phish Fan is a random Midwest dad who looks like he was at a barbecue cookout and they're like, hey, we need a drummer, can you fill in? Watch me say this.
The drummer just looks like a random dad from the Midwest who they're like, hey, can you like take a break from barbecuing today to play? And then the keyboardist is kind of like the nerdy mad scientist. He's gonna look like Doc Brown. What is he wearing? Okay, lights all out. Spots back on.
See, I had no idea what was going on. And by the way, it's too bad because this video only has 239 views, and that was one of my most like honest reactions. So no one really cares about Mull, so that's what I learned later, which is why I didn't get a lot of views. But if you go here, I just want to go in order because it's like a better, it's a better option. So I listened to, I guess I must have done YM next. Maybe, yeah.
Version. Hello, welcome to Erica Reacts.
Which, interestingly, is my favorite Phish song. And it was, I guess, the first one I listened to, that someone told me to listen to. So, because I had people start to recommend me what to listen to. And then, see, this one got a lot of views, 2,800 views. But I actually like YM. You enjoy my thoughts.
To Phish catalog. Mull, which apparently is not a good song because it's...
Yeah, so Mull was the first one I listened to, and then people, but I published these on like the same day. That's where they came out on the same day. This one was recommended, I believe.
It's new and the fans don't like it. I listened to Divided Sky and I listened to Fluffhead so far.
Oh, I guess I did Divided Sky and Fluffhead after. I think what happened is I first put these on TikTok and then they got published to YouTube on the same day. So I just want to go in order. I think I really liked Divided Sky too because it's like a composed one. Oh yeah, and Fluffhead. Look, only 655 views. You guys are missing out on these.
All right.
Oh yeah, now I already had a list for this point. People sent me all these recommendations for what I should listen to. All this typed list, that was where I got it from.
I'm going to be watching on my iPad today. We're gonna look at this is software for Barn. Oh, what the studio version sounds like, I'm only guessing, but if this was my composition, I would hear all of those atonal tones. That was kind of... This is the modulation. It's just going up by like half step. He's going through key changes. Key change, key change, key change. Another one. That's new. We've not.
They're right in the hallway. Just go straight that way. Yeah.
About elevator something, boozy brothel. I don't even know what those lyrics were. So up on Closed Captions.
At the time, I was kind of like reacting during the video. People don't like that I was a chomper, so later I kind of started not talking over the videos and just talking after.
Clearing, whatever that one is. It's like building, and then once in a while you...
Again, but this was like the first time I'd really ever heard any jams at all, like improvisational rock music. I just wasn't something I had listened to, aside from things that just happened naturally.
The song that their bassist sings, who isn't even, you know, in the Beatles when I liked as a kid, because it was like, do that to be quiet. Here's a little thing by ear. Every Midwest Dad, drumming again. Like I said, literally, he just came off of a. It was just a fully. But I also see him just doing it. That's impressive. Concerts and she.
Wow, I was really talking a lot. I should re-listen to a different Divided Sky because I liked it. But at the time, I was like, I don't even know what's going on. I was just taking, it was a lot to take in. I want you guys to understand, like, to have not heard Phish before and then just randomly start listening to it at my age, it was a lot. Especially not having any, I had never heard the Grateful Dead either. I've never heard any jam band music. Just kind of mainstream and indie and punk rock mainly were like my rock genres, alternative, whatever. But not anything like that.
Did something else.
But again, I started to realize, oh wow, like Trey is obviously a talented composer who's, you know, trained from music school and has good knowledge, good composition skills, and then they have a good sense of jazz. So then after my first four of like, I think these are really standard ones. You got No Divided Sky, Fluffhead, Mull was like, whatever, wild card, Yem was great, and then Carini. When I first heard Carini, I was like, what is this? Because it just seems so like out of character compared to the other ones.
Things up as well, so that we all.
Oh, I like my makeup in this video, and I'm wearing my denim dress. I like that dress.
Can hear that. This is going to be. It's been 9 different camps. I will be talking. I was actually in Vegas. Like I said,
I think I had to mute it out because the Sphere performances were basically copyright from. They were like copyright protected from YouTube, so I couldn't even publish it. So these were not ideal at the time.
Wow. It's a more compared to the other pieces I've listened to so far. That one just seems more like a rock and roll kind of hard rock. That was a lot of.
I'm honestly not wrong. I was pretty right on Carini. I've come around on Carini, and some people think that my Phish name should be Eric Carini. I don't think it's a bad choice, honestly. Halfway to the Moon. This is when people started sponsoring my posts, so this is when like I was like, oh, the fans don't hate me anymore. They're like warming up to me. And again, they'd sent me all those requests already, and then people started sending me money to do specific ones. So
that just I have to hate quote chompers. Okay.
Oh yeah, they were blocking out the music.
Who's going to write a song is going to be thinking about the vocal line, how we sing. It's really hard to do lyrics. These of this song.
Again, I still didn't even know how to like set up my audio. By the way, my microphone there is like really bad. Not that today is great with this one, but whatever. So I'm just going through my genesis here as a jam band reactor. So Halfway to the Moon. Oh my god, Simple, Catapult, and Meat Stick. I loved this one because Simple's so like feel good, you know? It was the most simple, and it's so funny because it's called Simple, and it is such a simple song, but it's such like a good song.
You look chomping actually. I'm not getting paid to chop about Phish, but it is a niche, as it appears that there are not that many Phish reaction videos generally, and there's not many by women. So hey, representation here. Seeing Broadway, and I.
You just have to kind of know, guys, like my sense of humor and like when I'm sarcastic and when I'm doing an act. And then once you do, it like makes a lot more sense about me. But a lot of people are quick to judge based on like I do like a dancing video or I say some kind of like inflammatory statement and everyone gets all triggered by it. I'm like, you guys, I'm acting.
I sing who I am in my Phish something mind. Okay. Yeah, I'm learning to Carini. Students have a competition like the MLK weekend, but I'm free after that. And so I would love to go to Mexico. I would just like someone to donate $5,000 to do that. So if you guys.
I still feel that way, but now I'm coming around so much on Phish. I'm like, honestly, maybe I should just splurge and just go to Mexico and spend the money. I just want to make sure I'm not taking away from like a vacation I should be taking my kids on to go to Phish. I'm not that selfish about it yet. You know, I still take my kids where they want to go.
If you guys want to crowdfund me, feel free. Harmony? Was it flat?
Again, I move kind of simple. I think I had to turn on the audio and all these.
Oh, I get to see the keyboard's hands. I like that. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, so I love simple. Catapult doesn't stand out to me so much. I like Meat Stick.
To get more gigabytes. So often.
Yeah, Catapult to me is so like annoying, honestly. But then Meat Stick I like.
I'll put captions on. Okay, I'm putting head to the meat stick. It's a very memorable hook. I can't tell if they're gibberish or a different language. Like that. That's the end of that. Let me.
Yeah, so then I think after that, I made this like Phish Fitness. I was like, I'm gonna just do more like comedy videos about Phish.
Welcome to Phish Fitness, where we get you ready and in shape for the.
Hold on, you guys can't see this.
The next Phish show. We're gonna start with the meat stick dance. I'm gonna teach you the choreography, and then we'll do it with music. It starts with the right hand going out, the left hand going out. 1, 2, in on 3 and 4. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you're at home, and okay? So you have to just kind of do a little hair flipping, just kind of.
And then yes, I made a mistake because I was like the Carini bathroom break, and now the Carini is not a bathroom break song. I realized it's well loved. So I would change this now if I was to remake this, and I would put in an actual bathroom break song. But I was still learning. At the time, I was still really learning about stuff. So, and then I say at the end, I say no chompers. Like I literally
no chompers.
I thought that was funny because everyone was like calling me a chomper for talking. So then that's when oh yeah, this was true. I literally, in my own song,
For my whole
I put in a vocal a cappella section after I heard YEM because I was like writing this song and I was like, how do I do this part? And then I put in my own a cappella.
If you read the chat called the boys, you may never repair.
And I was literally directly inspired by YEM because I was like writing the song at the time. And I was like, what do I do for this bridge? I didn't know what to do. And then it was like, oh, that would actually work really well there. Okay, so then I compiled them. At this point, I branched off and I created Erica Retro Gaming to be like a separate channel because on TikTok, my gaming was getting a lot of followers, and I realized that like a lot of the people who like Phish are male and like 35 to 60. And the people who are 35 to 60 also like retro video games because those were the video games that were out in their heyday. So I was like, oh, there's a lot of overlap and kind of like that nerdy, like you like music, you like video games. It kind of went together, and I was like, well, I know a lot about video games because I have 3 brothers. So I know a lot about music and I know a little bit about video games, but I do like the retro ones a lot. So I was like, I can play Mario and Zelda. I'm good at that. And I can play Mega Man X. So I was like, I'm going to also do retro gaming. And then I thought it kind of went well together. And so that's how retro gaming came about, by the way. But it was mainly that I was trying to branch off from my main page, which I was like, I should probably stick to like my voice lessons, my profession, my personal songwriting onto my regular page, and then branch off for like reaction videos onto this other channel. So that's how Erica Retro Gaming came about. And so then we got into, you know, Punch You in the Eye, Taste, Reba, Chalk Dust Torture, Harry Hood. I loved Harry Hood, by the way. Bouncing around the room, I thought was okay. And then everything's just kind of come out of there. Now, people were curious about how I ended up liking the shows. I think that after my show, what date are we on here? I went to the Phish concert. I think it's around here. Oh yeah. So then this is when I went to my first Phish show. So I was a lot of like preparation for this, and then here was my first outfit.
Fit check for the Phish concert. I'm gonna wear these comfortable white sneakers because they're cute, okay? And I'm gonna be comfy. I'm not gonna bring a heavy jacket, but San Francisco is always chilly, but because it's indoor, just this really light sweatshirt to go with my pink getup. but I can also tie it around my waist if I get hot. I'm wearing aloe leg.
And then I wore little sparkles. This is me on the train. I was really nervous. I was going by myself to the city without knowing anyone at a concert, and like,
I'm on the train and I'm just gonna try to narrate my thoughts because I don't know. I think not everybody does that. I'm nervous. I can feel it in my stomach. When I get nervous, I get like a little nauseous. In fact, I ate a very light dinner because I'm very nervous. So I only had like a piece of bread with some cheese and I had an orange. So that's how it is, and I'm not really even hungry. I'm just log entries like this throughout the night just so that's why he's like, you need to get new friends. Myself as a solo, but you don't.
anyway, I like go through all that. Again, I might post, I think some of these are on my YouTube channel.
I really like that song. Oh, is this the same?
Yeah, so that was like really awesome during the first set. I was like, that's so good. And then I interviewed the random Phish fan, and that's when I learned about Big Cypress. And to me, this is the most like stereotypical 1.0 person I could have possibly met at the concert because all his answers were like straight up 1.0 answers, and I thought it was hilarious.
What's your name?
My camp nickname is Rosie.
Okay, and how many Phish shows have you been to?
98.
What year did you start listening to Phish?
July, 1991.
What is your favorite show you've ever been to?
Big Cypress,
Where is that?
Florida.
What year was that?
New Year's 1999.
So did they used to play down there and not Madison Square Garden?
For that year they did.
Why?
Because they had a camp out with 80,000 people, and they started at 11:30 p.m. and they came on at 8 a.m. They stopped at 8 a.m.
So it was an all-night show.
They played an all-night show.
So anyway, that was just amazing because then I learned about Big Cypress, and then since then all the Big Cypress people have just like come out. And then I was like, I bet. So then I was like going over the set lists of Portland and Seattle prior to them coming to San Francisco, and I was like sad about songs that they played there that I wasn't going to hear in San Francisco. Like I was legit sad because I was selfish and being like, well, these are the songs I like, so I'm sure they're going to play it when I see my first show. But then I was like, I bet I'm going to get Carini because Carini, I was like, I had the joke about Carini from earlier.
I bet I'm going to get Carini. That's actually my luck.
So then Carini opened up the second set of the first night, which was great. And then I made this little thing. That is the view of the Shakedown, I guess. That's San Francisco. For those who don't know, this is that, I didn't bring a puff jacket. I'm trying to buy a ticket. But then on the sides where they have GA seats on the balcony, 99%. And the average, I'd say the most common person here is like a male about 50 years old. There are some. So yeah, that was just me like narrating my live thoughts. And then I like did a recap of the
Fluffhead was a little crazy, but I would take it. I'll take Fluffhead.
By the way, that was a really good version of Fluffhead for the encore of night one. I said a gift from the universe because I was on live actually when I recorded this, so I was like talking to the people in the microphone. That is the view of the Shakedown. Okay, and then for the next night, I wore this.
Fit check. Today I'm doing these sneakers, tall socks, long sleeve bodysuit. This is skirts, by the way, so it's not actually a skirt. And hair bows, pigtails, and that's it. Fit checked.
And I was like super excited to go back. I'd never gone to a 2-night in a row thing in my life. Yes, I really did like it. I felt the whole time I was just thinking things. It made me think things. It made me feel things. I was letting my emotions just kind of be. And especially in the instrumental things, my own mind can just use the music as coloring to what I'm thinking, right? So the one thing I really did believe and firmly believed last night was, I was like, experiences over things. Experiences over things. I mean, that was a whole video. I can like link all these if you guys are like, I want to watch that whole thing. And then I did a whole like set. Like,
I just got home from night 2 of the San Francisco Phish. It's like a total tweezer in San Francisco. The content be there. Like, I would who it started because he asked me, like, I don't know, within the first 10 or 15 minutes of the date, he goes, do you like Phish? And they're like,
so yeah, that's basically how I went to my first show.
So I'm addicted to this, not in a literal medical sense, but I don't think I could live without it.
And it's all because I accidentally made a video. And then I got to hear YEM, which like made me cry. It was beautiful. And then since then, I like talked about how much it costs to go, and then just like, you know, just continuing on, thinking if I can plan to see them again. Trying to make content that people make for other types of subjects, but applying it to Phish. So, for example, 3 days until I see Phish for the first time. 2 days until I see Phish for the first time. 1 day until I see Phish. Today I'm seeing Phish. Yeah, so it's just like, you know, I again with my content, I'm trying to just like do things that are trendy that other people do, but like using them in the Phish community, because Phish has a lot of people posting like live concert clips and stuff, and then there's like some comedians who do like, oh, average Phish fan, this and that, whatever, but it's not that much considering how large the fan base is. I think it's just because learning how to do all this video creation, it's really time consuming, and it actually takes a little bit of creative talent. It's like a certain skill set, and I've been working on that really hard to have that skill set. And I do really enjoy the reaction videos, and I really am happy to like listen to all the jams with like the mindset of a musician, and it's been kind of fun to like play them out on the piano and like figuring out, like, for example, this is like a typical viral thing, and I like applied it to, and the concept of this was because I was watching the set list of Seattle and Portland, and I didn't want them to play anything that I wanted to hear in San Francisco. I was hoping that the whole set list was stuff I didn't know, so that I was like going to still hear good stuff in San Francisco. So that's why I did this viral thing, which people were using to like, if they figuring out if they got into a college, right? So the whole family stands behind them. They look at the computer, they open the email, and then they like are like, I got into college. Okay, so that's what this is. I feel we're close enough. I wanna lock in your love. I think we're close enough. Could I lock in your love, baby?
someone.
Yeah, so that's the idea of that, just so you know. If you guys are like, why is she making this?
Phish, the band. My lore, how I became a Phish content creator. April 2024, I started a TikTok channel.
So this I tell the whole story. If you guys want me to publish this stuff to YouTube too, just let me know. I just was like, how much do you guys really want to watch, you know? TikTok is all about like quantity, so I just try to like publish as much as possible. On YouTube, I'm doing more like long form videos like these, where it's like I'm reacting or I'm reviewing something or I'm telling a longer story. Sometimes I go to, you know, like show my old CD collection from high school, just kind of other random stuff. Anyway, so then this is when, once now Phish was kind of set in stone, because now I like them, this is when all of the other jam bands came out of the woodwork, because we have, you know, Goose, and let's see, what have I reacted to? So since this all, I try to keep all my Phish ones looking similar so you can find them easily. But then I talked about how much it cost, the Phish fan stories. Okay, then I started listening to Billy Strings. Then I listened to the Grateful Dead. Then I listened to Goose. I'm actually going to see Goose next week. I saw Billy Strings last week. Maybe I'll see Dead and Company in August. So I'm trying to just kind of expand my repertoire, as we call it, to kind of just expand my mind, like just open up. And again, I hadn't heard of anything. Now people are telling me about widespread panic, and they've told me about disco biscuits. They're telling me about, I have a whole list of recommendations, and you know where that came from? Was from my TikTok yesterday. I did this video.
Jam band male fans. Whoa, that means to be a song. Jam band male fans. No, they're very culty.
Anyway, but then here, a lot of people are telling me other things to listen to. Some people are mad. Please let us know your qualifications for being a jam band creator. And you know what my answer is? It's that I do it. Because you know what? Everybody has one of these. This is called a smartphone, okay? Mine's an iPhone. It has a camera on it. And you know what I do? I just record everything as much as possible, and I just make the content. I don't think you need any qualifications to be a creator. I think you just have to create. Now, I'm not calling myself an expert. I think this is where people are wrong. I call myself a content creator. I'm not saying I'm an expert in jam bands. I said I'm a jam band influencer. And I am, because I'm influencing. But I'm not a expert. I'm not being like, oh, I've studied them. I have a master's in jam band history, blah, 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 blah. I'm not. But I do like music, and I do have a music background. So I think you just have to be open-minded about it. But I think a lot of people who jam band is their thing, they're not happy about me coming in. And I called myself in this video the Elle Woods of jam bands. Elle Woods is from Legally Blonde, okay? Because again, I'm always wearing pink. I have pink nail polish, very girly. A lot of the jam band people like are kind of like hippie, grungy, and but of course there are glam girls who come all in sparkles and all that, which I've now learned. But I will say, whenever I'm talking about the harassment I've gotten from the male jam band community, there's always women just saying, you're great, I support you, thanks for doing this, and they'll tell me stories about how they've been harassed. And you know, even this guy, if this is how I respond to people though, he's like, if you're a jam band creator, you should learn about jam bands. And since his screen name's Fluffhead, I replied with the Fluffhead lyrics. Fluffhead was a man with a horrible disease. And he's like, okay, that's a start. So like, I kind of like give them their own, I serve it all back to them. Wait till a Tool fan lectures you about the Fibonacci sequence and Jungian and stare archetypes. But then widespread panic. Some people are mad. Get a better hobby. Jam bands, they take fans more seriously. And then yes, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. People are very into that. Panic, Disco Biscuits. Yeah, Sector 9. You know, String Cheese Incident. So yeah, there's basically all these like now expanded genres, which I'm happy to look into. I've never been one to be like, no, I'm not going to look into anything, blah, blah, blah. Like, I do still prefer Phish. I actually really liked also Billy Strings, but Billy Strings and Phish have nothing in common with each other. I mean, I get why they're putting him in that, like, that category, because he does jams of his songs. But personally, I don't think that the music has really anything to do with each other, except that they're both really good at, like, Trey's really good at guitar and Billy's really good at guitar. I don't think that, like, thematically, and their music has anything to do with each other. That's why I'm not like, I don't know, like, so I'm open to it, but I'm not, it's not about what's better or I think it's, everything's different, everything unique, and everything serves its own purpose, but they don't have to be the same, and one doesn't have to be better than each other. They can all be like independently good. So I don't know. That's the thing.
I grew up with the Moody
But
Blues.
then yesterday,
I grew up with this cassette in my dad's car.
So I was talking about like my dad's car, and then I talked about Moody Blues, and now the Moody Blues people are coming out of the woodwork. So that's my point. My point is I've always liked all types of music and like varying long genres of music. So I don't need it to just be that, oh, I only like Phish, or I only like this, or I only like that. Like, I'm very open-minded. And so that's why I'm continuing on this journey of listening to stuff. And I did listen to a Goose set.
Almost gives it like a vibrato, like.
It was like an encore set, and then I'm seeing Goose next week. So then I'll react to that concert, and then I'm going to compare what the Goose experience was compared to the Phish experience, and what the fans are like compared to this and that. So there's just a lot of different things to do. But yes, and then, you know, I saw They Might Be Giants. That has nothing to do with jam bands, but it has to do with music, and it's good music, and I love that music, and I grew up with it. So I don't think it really matters what, you know, I don't want people to think that I think that I'm some sort of like expert, or that I have some kind of elitist thing that makes me have, like, no, everybody has the right and privilege to make as much content as they want. So you can be a content creator too. You just have to pull out your camera, put in the work, and like record yourself. And you can even just be like, I don't know anything, which is often what I say. I'm like, I don't know anything. What should I know? What should I listen to? Please give me advice. I'm asking for advice. I'm not trying to lecture people. So yeah, that's kind of the lore of how it all started. And I do hope to see Phish again because I really liked it. Maybe I'll go to Austin, or maybe I'll go to the East Coast this summer to catch them. And then I'm scheming about Riviera Maya, but I actually need to go buy tickets right now if that's going to happen because they just went on sale today. All right, well, drop a comment if you have any questions, DM me. All my links are in the link tree. So check it out. Until next time, bye.